Hello, this is Lynn and welcome to my channel. Today I want to share a little bit about my experience with a CPA test. So it's Certified Public Accountants. I want to share how I prepare for the test and also whether the test brings me a lot of changes in my career. Okay, so first question, should you take the CPA test if you are working in the accounting industry? The answer is definitely yes. The second question, whether the CPA certificate will affect your career a lot? The answer is kind of. And third question is that enough to take the CPA test to be in accounting industry? The answer is no, definitely not enough, far from enough. So if you are graduating with a bachelor degree or a master degree in accounting and you want to get into public accounting firms, you must have heard one of the three following questions in your interview. The first is, are you qualified to seek for the CPA test? The second is, are you planning to take your test? The third is, have you got a CPA? That's why taking the CPA test is almost a must in your accounting career. However, after you get your certificate or say you get a job in one of the accounting firms, you will realize how many different clients are there in the accounting world, and your clients will be all in different industries. So it's really important that you get yourself familiar with your specific clients, their accounting standards, and their accounting procedures. There are a lot more knowledge involved after the CPA test. When I was taking the test, it didn't have a lot of technology information involved, and definitely technology, or say IT audit, it will come into play as a more and more important role. So it's definitely important to learn the technologies. So what I have talked is 100% what I have experienced so far. Next, I'm going to talk a little bit about my background and how I prepare for the test. So I graduated with a bachelor degree in investment, and then I got my master's degree in accounting. So I started to prepare for the CPA test while I started my master program, and I took the test 2 years ago in 2018. Because I didn't take any audit classes before, I have limited choices of where to take of which state to register for my CPA test. So finally, I chose Washington State. So if you want to sit for the test, you need to have 150 credits, and also you need to take ethics exams afterwards. But the reason that I chose Washington State is more flexible of the CPE requirements. When I was taking the test, it only had a plan of 3 years of CPE credits, but now it seems like, yeah, it's the same with other states now. Even though you register your exam in another state, you can just take the test wherever you want. For example, I registered my CPA exams in Washington State, but I take my CPA test in Maryland, or Delaware. So you can basically choose where you want to take the test. From what I have heard from my colleagues, you can start to take the CPA test online, which is how I took my CISA test. I think it's really convenient. So I used Becker to prepare for my test, and if you purchase 4 classes on Becker, it's totally enough to prepare you fully for the test. So my sequence of the exams is BEC, FAR, audit, and then regulation. So I finished all these 4 tests in 3 months. FAR it is related to financial reporting thing. So it is one of the hardest section in CPA test. I was taking the intermediate accounting at that time. So my biggest recommendation is if you are taking those kind of classes and you are qualified to sit for the exam, take the exam while you are in school. So I took my first BEC test in March, and a week later I took the FAR test, and after that in April or May I took audit and regulation. So BEC is kind of the basic knowledge that you need to know about accounting, and also the biggest standards that you need to know, like internal control and stuff like that, and also technologies. And FAR is more like the financial reporting, so it will cover a lot of different industries, like a little bit. It will also have government accounting, which is more like advanced accounting. Auditing is more like a memory process because there's so many rules and stuff. For auditing is quite obvious. And regulation, it has tax and also the regular laws and standards in it. So the hardest part for me is regulation and FAR. So definitely I don't recommend to take those two parts first, because for the first test you need to get familiar with the testing environment, the testing screen and stuff, so that it will get you less stressed in the other tests. To be honest, I didn't quite finish my FAR test. However, I still can pass the test. So one thing is, if you don't feel confident after your test, don't worry so much. Maybe you will get lucky. So for audit, I started over. So if you haven't taken any auditing classes before you take the test, no worries. And the last one is regulation. It is definitely really hard. It includes individual tax, corporate tax, and also other regulations. It has been a while, so I don't really remember everything. But what I can share with you is my review process of the whole test. So it's basically the same with how I prepare for my CISA test. So first, review the book. Second, do the questions. Third, review the book again. At this time, because you know the questions that you have answered wrong at the first time, you will get more familiar with the materials involved. It will be like, oh, this is what I have been doing wrong all the time. And the last is to review the questions you have done wrong at the first time. So my schedule was that I wake up at 6 in the morning, and then I go to the gym for an hour, and then I come back and clean up and get prepared for my study in the day. So I will probably start at 8 in the morning and finish at 9 or 10 at night. So it's pretty stressful. That is definitely not an easy thing to prepare for the test. But the thing is, after you get prepared, after you finish your test, it will all pay back. So if you are working and need to take the test at the same time, don't worry that much, because from what I heard from my colleague, another magic thing about CPA test is that it can prepare you better for your job. For a lot of things that didn't make sense when you were studying for all kinds of accounting courses, it will make sense when you are taking the test. So it will get you familiar with all different accounting materials, give you a basic understanding of everything. when you get to your job, there are a ton of things that you need to study by yourself. So if you didn't get a high GPA, or say you didn't get a satisfying GPA in your accounting program, no worries, as long as you take your CPA test. So cheer up. If you really feel stressful or disappointed when you are preparing for the test, we're all there together. We have all been there. So it will be over, and after you have finished all your tests and got your license, it will be so wonderful. Thank you for watching my channel, and see you next time.